Okay, so in this video, I'm going to show how to create photographic drawings from a 3D model in Rhino using the drafting tools in Rhino. So the first thing that I need to do is to create a clipping section. So I go to drafting, section, create. Then I'm going to select the building and press enter. And here I have the options of the clipping section. I can change the direction or the plane according to what I want. So this, for instance, is a section. This would be more useful to create a section, for instance, and I'm going to change this and leave it in the C plane. Then I'm just going to click somewhere near the building and press enter, and that will place the section. So this element here is a element with properties that I can access by typing properties. And in the properties here, I can flip the direction of the clipping plane. And I can also change the objects that are being clipped. Here, right now, I can see that there are some things that are not being clipped. So I'm just going to change from include selected to all. I'm also going to change the name to level 0. Okay, so I also want to place this in the correct spot. So I am going to move it down to the floor, and then I'm going to move it up around 1.1 meters. Okay. Yeah, I think that is it. I am happy with the placement of this one here. So now I can start generating the drawings. Okay, so to generate the drawings, I am going to go to drafting again, section, create drawings. Oh no, before I do that, I will assign some line weights to some of the layers that I have here, so that when I create the drawings, these layers will inherit the line type properties that they have, and that will give me line weights. So I will go to line types, menu, and I am going to create a series of thicker line types. Just gonna create new here, and I will say line 0.3 millimeters, and I'm going to change the width to millimeters to 0.3. So I am going to generate a couple of new lines that I will use in the drawing. Again, remember to change here the width. I'm going to call this line 0.5. Here is also where you can generate some dash lines and so on. Okay, so I have a 3.3 millimeters and a 0.5 millimeters. Okay, I'm just going to use these two to demonstrate. I'm going to close this, and what I want to assign those line types is to walls, and then to that we see in blue here, and to the structure that we see in brown there. So I will select the layer and go to line type, and I will change that to line 0.3. And the same for the structure. Remember to select the layer, not the sub layer. So this one here, I'm going to change this one here to line 0.5. Another thing that I want to do is I want to add hatches to the section. And I will do that again. I will add hatches to both the wall here, so this one, and also to the structure. To the walls, I go to section style, and I click where it says none, and I will change this to a hatch pattern. I'm going to change the scale here, 45-degree rotation, 0.1 for the pattern scale, and click apply and see how that looks like. And you can, if you zoom in the perspective, you will see the hatch there. And I will also do the same for the structure here. And I will choose also a hatch 1 pattern, 0.1 here and 45 degrees here, and apply. Okay, so now that we have the hatch in the two things that I wanted to apply hatch to. Now I can create the drawings. Okay, so I select the clipping plane, I go to drafting, sections, create drawings. And here is where you need to control a lot of the options. So I'm gonna leave the print width by input so that they can inherit the line types that I just assigned. Print color, I'm gonna leave by input, I think, can't remember right now. Then I will make sure that show hatch is marked yes, show solid will be no, then add background yes, parallel projection, and then the rest I'm gonna leave unchecked. So I'm gonna click here, and that will, it has some colors that I don't want to do that. So whenever you make a mistake in the settings, you can go select the clipping plane and run the command edit clipping drawings. So I'm gonna change this to by layer. And then enter when done, and you can see that I have a black and white drawing here. Okay. So here I can see that I'm gonna create a new layout where I'm gonna place this drawing just to be able to see how that looks like and to see if we have line weights. So I go to layout, and then I will create a new layout. It will be a A3, I click apply. And in the layout, by default, you have this window into your drawing that you can access by double clicking it and leave it by double clicking outside. And this window has properties. So you select it and you type properties. And this is kind of how you can assign the scale of your drawing. So for instance, 1 millimeter on page, 0.05 meters in the model. So if let's say it's a 1 to 50 scale that you want, so 1 millimeter on page will be 50 millimeters on the drawing, right? So that is the scale that I'm choosing here. I'm gonna go here and I will, it's already selected, the print preview. So we take this out, you usually see the window and such. If you do print preview, you usually are able to see some of the line weights that you have assigned. So here you see that I indeed have some of the line weights that I have assigned to both the walls and also the structure here. One thing that I want to change is that instead of having a hatch, I just want to have a solid in the structure. So I'm going to go to perspective again and go to the layers here, and I'm going to change the section style to solid and apply. And whenever you do any changes on the section styles, on the line types, or something that you want to change in the drawing, you always need to force an update on this drawing here. And you can do that by selecting the clipping plane and say update clipping drawings. Run the update clipping drawings command. Or you can force an update by selecting here and then just dragging the gumball if the update clipping drawings doesn't work, because sometimes that's the case. Okay, so that worked, and now I have a solid hatch on the structure, and the rest is kind of hatch 45 degrees. One thing that can happen also is that the hatches don't have the correct scale. Right now we see the same scale here in the model space and also on the layout space. But if you have some settings difference, that will not be the case. So I'm going to show you how to change that. So if you go to document properties, this one should not be enabled. If this is enabled, then you will have a different scale here than in the model space. So just make sure that is unchecked. Okay, another thing that I want to show here is that this new drawing resides in these layers here that are by default locked. So you can see that here, right? You can turn on and off the drawing by going here. And these layers get updated every time you move the clipping plane or you run the update clipping plane command. So in general, you do not want to change anything here or be on this level to draw anything, because every time you update that, anything you draw, edit, will be deleted here in this drawing. So I will show you how this gets dynamically updated. So if you move it up to include more stairs here, you will see the update here in the drawing, which is nice, but also has some drawbacks because you can really manually modify this one. Otherwise, it will get updated every time you move the clipping plane or run the update clipping plane command. Okay, that was all I wanted to show. There is one more thing that maybe is useful to know, which is about assigning colors here. And one way that you can do that is that you will update clipping drawings here. Oh, sorry. You will edit clipping drawings here, and then you will change display color by input. And that will make the drawing inherit all the display colors from your model. As you can see here, the layers that are green appear here in green, and so on. But also that will be the print colors that they have. We still have line weights, but we have a lot of different colors. So if you want to use some colors in your prints, what you can do is you can select make sure that everything is extended so that you're not missing anything, and select all the drawings from your model, not your drawing. And then we will just change the color to black. And then I will run the update clipping drawing command, and that should change everything to black here. We can also force an update here. Yeah, that actually worked. So you can see all the drawing is now on black because I changed all the properties here. So let's say that you want to, for instance, have the furniture in gray. So I'm just going to select all the furniture here, and I'm going to assign a color of dark gray, and I'm going to say apply. So I can just drag this one to force update in the drawing. And you can see, I think I see already that all the furniture now is gray. Okay, so that was the last thing to show you.